The games ask Kratos to let go of the past. And now the audience is being asked to do the same. I've been following the God of War controversy since the new game was announced, and it's been a shit show, which is surprising considering how beloved this franchise is. The more I read, the more I realized that this was not just about a video game protagonist. It's a conversation about identity, nostalgia, and why people become so emotionally attached to fictional characters.
Find your way home. You are free.
So let's talk about why everyone is so angry about Faye. The original God of War launched in 2005 and introduced players to Kratos, a Spartan warrior consumed by rage, grief, and revenge. For nearly 20 years, players have watched him evolve from an anti-hero, driven by vengeance, into a father trying to break the cycle of violence. So, who is Faye? If you've only played through the games once, it's understandable that you don't remember anything about her. She is only actually physically present for one flashback, but narratively, she's everywhere. Faye is Kratos' wife, the mother of his child, and the catalyst for the entire Norse saga. Her final wish, to have her ashes scattered from the highest point in all of the realms, is what begins the events of God of War 2018. But she was far more than just Kratos' wife. She was a giant. She understood the prophecy surrounding Ragnarok, and many of the choices she made before the game started shaped the journey that Kratos would eventually undertake. Without Faye, there is no Norse saga, which is why I found the outrage surrounding Faye becoming the next protagonist so confusing. At first, I genuinely couldn't understand where it was coming from. Some of it was easy to explain. There were plenty of comments dismissing the game simply because the protagonist is a woman. But the more I read, the more I realized that couldn't explain everything. There seemed to be something deeper going on, and that's what I wanted to understand. We need to talk about Kratos, not just the character, but the identity. Kratos is not just the main protagonist of God of War. For some players, he is someone they've grown up alongside for nearly 20 years. They watched him at his lowest, consumed by rage. Then they watched him become a father, confront his past, and struggle to become someone better than who he was. That kind of storytelling creates something powerful. Characters can stop feeling like fictional people and start becoming symbols. For some, Kratos represents strength. For others, redemption. For others still, the hope that no matter how badly you messed up, you can still choose to become a better person. When a character carries that much emotional weight, changing the protagonist doesn't just feel like a creative decision. For some, it feels personal. When we don't stop to examine where those feelings are coming from, it's easy to direct them to the most obvious change. And in this case, that's Faye.
Kratos. You alright?
And because Faye is a woman, that disappointment can blend with misogynistic attitudes that already exist in parts of gaming culture. Instead of processing the loss of Kratos as the protagonist, the conversation shifts towards attacking the woman who was perceived to have replaced him. In reality, Faye didn't replace Kratos at all. She has been part of his story since the very beginning. She is not an outsider stepping into the franchise. She is one of the most important characters that influence the man that Kratos becomes. But there's one more piece to this puzzle. The internet does not reward nuance and introspection. It rewards outrage. A comment that says, "I'm disappointed, I really wanted another Kratos game," isn't going to get that much attention. A comment that says, "God of War is dead," or "they're ruining the franchise," spreads much faster. Social media algorithms don't care if a comment is thoughtful or accurate. They care whether people stop scrolling, argue in the comments, and share the post. Outrage is one of the easiest ways to make that happen. So the loudest voices quickly become the most visible, even if they don't represent everyone who's disappointed. Not everyone who's criticizing the new God of War is motivated by misogyny. Some people are just disappointed to see Kratos step aside. But when disappointment is expressed through anger and amplified by social media, it can become hostility. And in some cases, that hostility becomes misogynistic. None of that excuses the comments being made. Some of them are truly horrific. What I find most ironic about this controversy is that the modern God of War games are all about growth and change. Kratos spends 2 games trying to escape the person he used to be. He learns that strength isn't found in rage, but in restraint. He learns that true leadership is not about domination, but about compassion and responsibility. The games ask Kratos to let go of the past. And now the audience is being asked to do the same. Again, not everyone who is disappointed with Faye being the new protagonist is misogynistic. Some simply just wanted another Kratos game. Others are worried whether or not Faye can carry an entire story. Those are fair questions. Questions that can only be answered when the game is released. The problem isn't criticism. The problem is when criticism becomes personal attacks, harassment, or the assumption that the game is going to be bad simply because a woman is leading it. At the end of the day, I don't know if this new game is going to be a masterpiece. I don't know if it'll live up to Kratos' legacy. What I do know is that the controversy says just as much about us as it does about the game. It reminds us how deeply we connect with stories, how easily disappointment can become outrage, and how quickly social media turns nuanced conversations into polarizing battles. Maybe Faye will prove everyone wrong. Maybe she won't. But I think we owe it to ourselves and to the game to judge the game for what it is, not for what we fear it may become.